Hi, we're here to highlight the information on Black Heritage Society and Martin Luther King Parade Foundation. I am Teresa Brewer, new Vice President of the organization. In 1978, Dr. Martin Luther King father, Dr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., father, Dr. King, Daddy King, addressed Houston and the Houston community. He commissioned Mr. Ovite Duncantel and Black Heritage Society to continue its endeavors in Dr. Martin Luther King's dream aspiration. Today, the organization aims to inspire, teach, and honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the federal holiday with the parade and other activities throughout the year. We have with us one of the founding members, Mr. Willa Vital. He is the president of the organization. We also have Ms. Helen Johnson, treasurer, secretary of the organization. Hi, Mr. Vital. Can you give us a little history about your experience at the beginning of Black Heritage Society?
We were in the fourth, fourth ward for some time, and then we moved around from there, place to place, and
Is that the building that you were in?
many buildings.
Mini building, and that was the first building for Black Heritage Society?
We were moving from one building to another.
Got it. Mr. Vital,
Yeah.
can you share with us some of the experience you had during that time when Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. came here for the parade? He was here in Houston, and he was the one that commissioned Black Heritage Society and our late director, Ovite Duncantel. You were here at that time. Can you tell us about that?
When Omar Duncantel was the one that was in we assisted the place right over. See the old place over there. We just we was come on a Sunday and put that in put that as we would, that building was right over right by Fourth Ward. I mean, no. And then we would move from there to another.
So it sounds like it started off, it was very difficult at the beginning during that time. Would you say that, sir?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult at the time.
But the organization has been around a long time. How did you make it? How did the organization get this far?
We would just move from one place to another place.
And I know that you were at one time you worked under the mayor. Could you tell us a little about that?
Well, yeah, I did working under the mayor. So was Noel Welch.
And how did you and Mr. Duncantel get together?
Duncantel was working on his he was an undergraduate, and so as he was working on his undergraduate, I had already completed my work. I had a family, so we just stayed right there, and then of course I would go over to Helen Johnson to do the typing for me.
Okay.
And so and I would ask her to type out some for me. And she was able to provide them with some of the typing and all that.
Well, I'm a native Houstonian and I have enjoyed the parade for many, many years. So I just want to thank you for staying there and making it come to pass. Miss Helen Johnson,
Yes.
you are the current Secretary Treasurer of the organization. Can you just share with us some of your experience of in 1978 with the parade and Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. coming and commissioning Black Heritage Society to carry on the endeavors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Because I know you're a longtime member.
Well, actually, Ms. Brewer, let me first say that I am so glad that you are taking the time to recognize board members. So that's something that's been needed for a very long time with Black Heritage Society. And I predated the 1978 event. I was over a program at Texas Southern University called University Year for Action, and Duncan Tail was one of the students, and 72 or 73. Anyway, in this program, his major was sociology, and we were teaching the students to become change agents, to change the status quo, things that's going on. They were taught to write projects, and they were taught to get grants and all of that. And so after Duncan Till left the program, he started organizing. And I understand that he was first with Harris County Council of Organizations. And this is when the whole country, mostly Black communities, let me say, were very upset about what had happened to Dr. Martin Luther King. At first, most of the college students were with Malcolm X because he was talking about action, violence, and they didn't believe in Martin Luther King Jr.'s thesis about nonviolence, the nonviolent protests, because they felt that America was built on violence. And they didn't like the racism and all of that. And Malcolm X was talking about economic equality, whereas Malcolm was talking about civil rights, equal rights, and
Dr.
economic equality was kind of last. And the students were more in favor of Malcolm X, and we had Stokely Carmichael on the campus stirring up things anyway. But it changed after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and people began to feel, well, first, Martin Luther himself changed the climate. He was not well accepted in Houston at first. As a matter of fact, they chased him out of Houston. But in 1974, Duncan Tail, with his president here, his original president, Willard Vital, organized what's called the Black Heritage Society. And Black Heritage Society was more of a movement, and it captured the spirit of the Black people, the anger, the hurt, the pain, and they had the perfect person to speak for them. There was Ovi Duncan Tail, who did not mind speaking up and challenging the status quo. And so in 1978, they had already been working toward this, as he organized, Ovi Duncan Tail organized the community. They were trying to get the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as a federal holiday.
Yes.
And the community that rallied behind him most was South Park community. And they were able to spark let's say, Duncan Tail would always say that they lit the spark around the nation to get the holiday actually accepted. And so they were elated. In 1978, they had the parade to celebrate their victory. And Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther King Sr. came down.
Mm-hmm.
But what people did not know was that Martin Luther King Sr. and O.V. Duncantel's father were good friends and had marched the streets in Louisiana to make sure that people with their poll taxes were able to vote. They had their guns on their shoulders and the people lined up behind them so that they could be sure that no violence no harm came to them as they voted. And no one really, Duncantel didn't really tell that story. He's only 9 years old when that occurred. But anyway, Daddy King was glad to come to the son of his friend in 1978. And it was very cold, I understand, icy. But people came out. And they came out because they wanted to share with with Reverend Martin Luther King, who was Daddy King. They wanted to share their concerns for him and the family and let him know how much they felt about the death of his son. And so they marched. And he pulled Duncantel aside, according to Duncantel, and told him, "Keep my son's dream alive."
Yes.
So that's why you will see the slogan of Black Heritage Society saying, "Keep the dream alive." And Duncantel devoted his life to keeping that dream alive. And that's why the parade probably is so important,
Yes.
because it's honoring his pledge to Daddy King, keeping that dream alive, the drum beating, the heartbeat of the Black Americans. They're saying, you know, we were born free. And you are trying to keep us from enjoying our full freedom, but we are not going to stop until we are truly free in this country. So, in 1978,
Yes.
they marched and they sang songs. They sang the "We Shall Overcome." And many of the clergy of Houston were leading in that march and organization. So I was very proud to have been one of the persons who came into O.V. Duncantel's life and helped him to get that project together.
And we are still marching. We still have that parade. That parade is going to be January the 18th. And we still have the drum majors and the parades and the bands, and it's going to be virtual this year. So we want to tell everybody to join us for the virtual parade. And thank you all for sharing your experiences about Martin Luther King and Daddy King and the Black Heritage Society and O.V. Duncantel.